Hey, Laura, look this way!
A camera flash nearly blinded me. Whatever happened to personal space? I put on my best smile and posed.
You look fabulous tonight. Just one more picture.
I think you have enough for your tabloid, Jeff, I said as I put on my sunglasses back on.
It's a blog. Gentlemen, that's enough.
Alec, my driver, said as he placed himself between the bloodthirsty reporters and me. I expected them to push and shove him like they always did, but their attention shifted to someone else.
She's here.
I removed a pocket mirror from my purse and quickly checked out my hair and makeup. I had to look perfect for her. Alex stood next to me as we watched her walk down the red carpet. We stood at attention like the loyal soldiers we were.
Laura,
Victoria?
that dress makes you look 2 sizes bigger. Don't wear it again, unless you want to spark pregnancy rumors. Now smile.
She turned and waved at the camera. She even blew them a few kisses. Boys and girls of Storytime Animated, meet my mother. Delightful, isn't she? While I go and change my dress, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Then hit that notification bell. Now, smile! Ever wondered what it's like to live with movie stars? When I was a little girl, my mom bought me a blanket for my birthday. It was a limited edition Princess Victoria blanket. Princess Victoria was my favorite character in my favorite movie. Mom, it's so pretty. Look at the princess. She's smiling at me. I squealed as I jumped up and down. My older brother Tristan rolled his eyes.
Ugh, girls are so lame.
Tristan thought everything was lame. One day after school, Tristan told my mom that something was stuck in his ear. Mom looked horrified.
Did you put something in there?
No, but it hurts.
When we arrived at the hospital, Tristan was sobbing quietly.
I'm sorry, Margot. Tristan needs to spend a few nights here so we can treat him.
The doctor said after examining Tristan. The next day, I carried my most prized possessions, my Princess Victoria blanket, and took it to Tristan. He was asleep when we got there, so I put the blanket over him. When he woke up, he grabbed it and threw it at me. Mom rushed to his bedside.
I don't want your stupid blanket.
I ran out of the room clutching the blanket. I hid in a corner and sobbed.
Are you okay, sweetheart?
I wiped my eyes and looked up. It couldn't be. Princess Victoria was standing in front of me. Wow, you're real? I reached out my hand to touch her.
Of course I am, sweetheart. You're so pretty, and so is your blanket.
My mom got it for me, but Tristan hates it. I sniffed.
Who's Tristan?
My brother. Dr. Gray said there's something wrong with him, so he has to stay there. Princess Victoria took my hand and pulled me to my feet.
Come on, take me to Tristan.
As we walked, I saw a man taking photos of us. I thought I saw Victoria smile at him, but what did I know? I was only 5 years old. Mom, look, it's Princess Victoria.
Oh, Laura, where did you run off to? We looked everywhere for you.
The princess found me.
You know she's not a real princess, right? She just plays one in a stupid movie.
I'm so sorry. Don't mind him. Being here all week is making him act out. It's all right. I'm Victoria.
Mom laughed.
Oh, trust me. I know who you are. Are you here visiting someone? I'm here donating some stuff to the kids admitted here. I'd offer some to Tristan, but I don't think he's interested.
She smiled. Tristan lay with his back to us.
Laura, look! It's Victoria on TV.
I looked up and saw Victoria sitting with a talk show host.
Looks like she's doing an interview. Let's listen.
So, Victoria, we've all seen the video of you and that little girl in the hospital hallway. What's the story?
Well, her name is Laura. She's the prettiest girl I've ever seen, and she's a huge Princess Victoria fan.
The blanket was kinda hard to miss.
Victoria and the talk show host laughed.
Adorable, right? I was walking around the hospital, hanging out with some of the kids there, when I saw her all alone in a corner, covered in that blanket. I knew I had to talk to her.
I smiled so much it hurt. After that, the interview moved to her career and her upcoming movie, and I stopped paying attention. On the day Tristan was discharged from the hospital, Victoria showed up with a camera crew. We were all on TV, including Mom, Tristan, and his doctor. I didn't know what was happening at the time. I later found out that Victoria had paid all of my brother's bills and told the media about it. Victoria also came to our house a bunch of times. Photos of us were all over magazines and newspapers. She got so much praise for helping my family. I accompanied her to interviews. She brought me new clothes to wear on TV. One night, just bed, my mom came to my room. She placed me on my lap and started to cry. Mom, what's wrong?
I'm so sorry, baby. I hope you forgive me one day.
I had no idea what she was talking about. Adults were weird. She tucked me into bed, kissed me goodnight, and walked out of my bedroom. The next day, I woke up to find Victoria and an old lady sitting in our living room. Mom and Tristan were gone. Where's Mom and Tristan?
They're gone. She asked me to look after you. Maria here will pack your stuff for you, okay? Come with me.
She held my hand as we walked out of our house.
Hey, no sad face. Do you know how lucky you are? You look just like me. Now smile.
She squeezed my hand a little too tightly. A black limousine was parked outside. Is that for me? I saw one in a movie. Victoria laughed. She sounded so different.
Don't be silly, Laura. It's here for me. Get in.
But I want my mom. I refused to get into the limousine.
You ungrateful child. After all I did for you and your family, your brother would still be stuck in hospital if it wasn't for me. Now stop being so difficult.
Victoria no longer looked like a princess. She looked like an evil witch.
Please tell me you're not watching that again.
Alex stood at the door to my living room. We'd just returned from the premiere of Victoria's new movie. I can't believe I thought she was a princess back then, I said as I shook my head. The video of Victoria and me in the hospital hallway was playing on my laptop.
You were only 5. You probably believed in unicorns and Santa, too.
That was Tristan.
Do you ever wonder where she is now?
I barely remember him. That's all I had to say on the topic. Years ago, when I first came to live with Victoria, I was confused. I didn't understand why my mom just left me behind. All my confusion was cleared when Victoria introduced me as her adopted daughter. She made the announcement at the party in her house. It was a major event attended by famous movie stars like her. For some time, I was angry at my mom. But Victoria kept reminding me that I was living a life most girls my age would die for. I starred in movies and TV shows and dated the hottest and most famous guys. I had millions of fans and followers on social media. I had a team working for me around the clock. I lived in my own mansion next to Victoria. What more could a girl ask for?
Good evening. I'm Greg. I'll be your server tonight.
Hi, Greg. I'm Laura. I'll have a steak, medium rare with mashed potatoes, please.
No, she will not.
Greg looked confused.
You will not embarrass me by eating carbs in public. Someone could be taking pictures.
She turned to Greg.
She'll have the salad.
Greg looked at me sympathetically before walking off.
Sometimes I think you do these things just to piss me off.
Sorry. Next time I want to eat a piece of gum, I'll consult you.
Watch it. Nobody likes a smart mouth.
Here's your salad, ma'am. Enjoy.
Greg looked uncomfortable at our exchange.
Where's my wine?
A second server arrived with a bottle of some fancy wine from some fancy vineyard. Whatever. I was starving.
Ma'am, do you need me to pour the wine for you?
Victoria looked around us dramatically.
Ma'am?
Oh, sorry. I was looking for my special wine opening person that I brought with me. Of course I need you to open the wine for me. And stop calling me ma'am.
Dinner was going great.
Here you go, ma'am. I'm sorry, Mrs.
I burst out laughing. I thought I saw a cloud of smoke come out of Victoria's ears. As the second server poured the wine, the glass tipped over and spilled wine all over Victoria's dress. Here comes Hurricane Victoria, I thought as Greg attempted to clean the mess. Victoria was suspiciously quiet during the whole thing. She glanced behind my shoulder, and when I followed her gaze, I realized why. A few tables behind us, a woman in sunglasses and a headscarf was recording us on her smartphone. She was probably a blogger. The whole thing was going to be all over social media in minutes.
Please, come with me. We need to clean your dress before it gets a permanent stain.
Victoria followed Greg.
Hello, Laura.
It was the woman recording us earlier.
I knew you'd grow up to be beautiful. Look at you.
Okay, she was starting to creep me out. Who are you?
Don't you recognize me?
She said as she took off her sunglasses and scarf. Mom? This couldn't be happening. She moved to hug me, but I leaned back. Don't. Tears pricked the back of my eyes.
Laura, please, let me explain what happened.
Did you or did you not give me away to her?
It's not that simple. What's going on?
Victoria was back. When she looked at my mom, she froze.
I thought we agreed you'd stay away from her, unless you want to go to jail.
Jail?
Tell her the truth, Margaret. Tell her about the fake medical bills you and Tristan's doctor made me pay. I told you if you ever came near Laura, I'd have you arrested for fraud.
I ran out of the restaurant to the parking lot where Alec was waiting for me. I need to go home now, please. When we got to my apartment, someone was sitting in the lobby.
Hi, Laura.
Great, another reporter. Look, I had a salad for dinner and both of my mothers are liars, so please just leave me alone. He laughed.
It's so good to see you. I mean, I always see you on TV and social media, but...
He looked nervous. I'd never seen a nervous reporter. They always reminded me of hawks. Whoever this was, he wasn't a reporter. For the second time that day, I found myself asking, "Who are you?"
It's me, Tristan.
Was there a family reunion they all forgot to tell me about? First Mom, now you? What do you want from me?
Ouch, I can leave if that's what you want.
I'm sorry. Weird evening.
Mom found you? I was coming to warn you. She's been trying to reach you for months, but Victoria wouldn't let her. Mom said she'd go on TV and tell the truth, whatever that means.
The lobby doors opened and Victoria walked in, followed by my mom.
And who might you be? Tristan, what are you doing here?
Victoria looked him up and down like a cat sizing her prey.
Laura, your mom has something to say. Can we all go inside?
Half an hour later, we were all sitting in my living room. Well, I asked, sounding much more calm than I felt.
Years ago, when Tristan got sick, Victoria offered to pay for his treatments.
I know that. Mom looked uneasy. Victoria looked bored.
Oh, for heaven's sake, just tell her. Laura, when I publicly said I'd pay for Tristan's treatment, your mom and Tristan's doctor lied about his medical bills. They made me pay for treatments Tristan hadn't received. I had paid close to $1 million when I started to get suspicious.
Mom, please say this is not true.
Tristan was angry.
I'm so sorry. When she found out, she threatened to have me and Dr. Gray arrested. I pleaded with her and she said she was willing to let the matter go if I let her have Laura.
I was going to be sick.
I couldn't go to jail. Tristan needed me.
What about me? I needed you too.
But you look so happy with her. She gave you everything I couldn't.
Except love.
Don't be ridiculous. I care about you.
You care about what I can do for you. It's the reason you wanted me to begin with, isn't it? I made you look good in public. You became more popular and you got more interviews and job offers. She had the nerve to look offended. I want you all out of my house. All of you. Get out. Tristan, you can stay.
Have you decided what you're going to do?
I hadn't seen or spoken to Victoria and my mom since that day a week ago. They both kept calling, but I never responded. I'm going to put an end to it all. And I did. I went on a talk show and told the whole story. It became the biggest story on all TV channels. I got so many invitations to interview that I had to change my phone number. Victoria was unreachable for comment. A few days later, she left the country and said she was going on vacation. Mom got harassed by reporters until she sold her house and moved away. Maybe I'd look for her one day, after I was done being mad at her. A few weeks later, I got a call from a publishing company. They said they wanted to meet and discuss a book deal. What do you think? I asked Tristan as we ate dinner in our apartment. He'd moved in with me a week earlier.
I think you should meet them. Your story is worth telling.
It's our story, big brother. We both smiled. I called the company the next day. Mom, I got all A's in my classes.
So what? You're not the first person to get all A's. Mom, I'm sorry, but I failed all my classes. Oh, honey, you should be proud of yourself. At least you took the exams. But what if I'm required to repeat a grade? What? Impossible. That can never happen. I will talk with your teachers and principal immediately. They're doing such terrible work in that school.
The teachers? I asked, confused. They're doing a terrible job? Your daughter, who refuses to ever study anything, unsurprisingly fails all of her papers, and the teachers are to blame? You know who's to blame for her failures? You are. Yes, you. Don't stare at me like you're all confused. I've had enough of you. You are to blame for every bad thing that happens to Claire. And me. And Dad, any bad thing that happens in this house is all your fault.
All right, that's enough.
Dad tried to carry me, but I pushed him away. Don't touch me, Dad. Don't you dare. You just stand around and watch this evil woman make my life miserable. And you never do anything about it.
I try my best, honey.
Well, your best isn't enough. I had sleepless nights studying, trying to be the best, so just once in my life, my mother would say she's proud of me. But instead, she doesn't give a hoot about me. I burst into tears and Claire tried to comfort me. Don't touch me, I screamed, storming off. Mom immediately followed me.
You, young lady, are grounded for the rest of—
No, she's not.
My dad interjected.
Now, get out of the way.
He pushed Mom aside as he followed me into my bedroom and comforted me. Yeah, my house was a madhouse. Thanks to my crazy mother. Hi, I'm Clara, and this is the story of my hard life. Before we proceed, please be a dear and hit the like and subscribe button if you want to receive 10 years of good luck. Believe me, it works. What you just witnessed is a short summary of my life. It has always been this way. Ever since Claire and I were born, my mother just preferred Claire to me for some unknown reason. She always praised Claire for the littlest things while insulting and castigating me no matter what I did, good or bad. My dad noticed this, and I remember him trying to have a conversation with her, explaining that the way she was handling things wasn't the right way to train children. But she never listened to him. She just kept on neglecting me. Over the years, I did everything I possibly could to impress her, but she was never fazed. I started hating Claire for all the love and affection that our mother kept showering on her. I started suspecting that Claire was actually doing this on purpose. Perhaps she was lying to my mother about me or doing things in secret with her, things I hadn't figured out yet. I felt so bad that I began withdrawing myself from the family. I think this was when my dad really took notice of how bad things were getting in my life, so he stopped being the equal, loving father and started giving me special attention so I'd stop feeling neglected and alone. The funny thing is, Claire noticed how my dad was treating me and started hating me too for all the love and affection that he was showering on me. She didn't understand that he was only trying to fill up the empty gap in my soul. It became a game. Who would do the most impressive thing? Claire always won with our mom, but failed with our dad, while I always won with our dad and failed with our mom. We started hating each other badly, and as a result, we grew up without having a relationship. We just avoided each other at all costs, and we didn't even understand why. One day, our mom came back from work and announced that she had gotten a new job where she had to work evenings. We all objected to the fact that she'd have to work evenings, but she then explained that she didn't mind the hours because the salary of the new job was almost triple her previous salary. When we heard this, we decided to let the hours slide and all got genuinely excited for her because it meant that our lives were also going to become better as a result. Claire grew up to be really mischievous, but my mother never really saw anything wrong with that. One evening, Claire snuck out with some kids who I recognized from our streets. These were badly behaved kids that didn't even go to school anymore because they'd been expelled and arrested so many times. I was annoyed with Claire, but I was also worried. There was no way those kids were going to be a good influence on her. I waited for my parents to come back home, Mom from work and Dad from an impromptu evening meeting. When they arrived, I told them everything. My dad was really worried and wanted to go and find Claire wherever she was, but my mom simply brushed it off, saying it was just teenage stuff.
Honey, this is not a big deal. Let the young girl have fun. This is just what teenagers do. You know she's 18 already, right?
When my dad insisted on going to find Claire, my mom severely warned him. This was when I realized that my mother was the breadwinner of our family. No wonder she got away with almost everything. She made more than Dad so she could threaten him with money. I tried attending an innocent school party one night, but both my mom and Dad didn't let me go anywhere. While we argued, Claire simply walked to the door and said,
I'm off to the school party. I'm not coming back till Monday. Bye. All right, sweetheart. Enjoy your weekend.
You're not coming back till Monday? What the?
Mom gave Dad a stern look.
It's all right, my love. Have a blast.
They immediately turned back to me while I stared at them with my mouth wide open. My lips were so far apart that you could fit a football stadium right into it.
Now you, young woman, go back to your room before I descend on you.
Dad! I called out with tears in my eyes, but he simply looked away. I went back to my room and locked the door, weeping as I sat on my floor. Claire was allowed to party and leave the house as much as she liked. It didn't matter how much her dad objected, Mom had the final say. But whenever I tried to go out and have this type of fun, both Dad and Mom objected. No matter how my dad tried to make up for it after the fact, I was convinced that they both hated me. And I couldn't understand why, because I'd done my best to be perfect for them. One night, Claire came home by 2 a.m., drunk and wearing really revealing clothes. Dad got so angry with her that he started yelling uncontrollably at her. But this infuriated Mom, and she responded by yelling back at him. One thing led to another, and they suddenly ignored Claire, who made them start fighting in the first place and focused on themselves, yelling and screaming at each other. I just stood there, stunned. Mom slipped and stumbled on the floor. While trying to gain her balance, she almost fell down and hit her head, but Dad immediately caught her and saved her. She responded by attacking my dad like she was some sort of cat, and they both resumed the noisy scene. A drunk Claire tried to stop all the yelling, screaming that they were giving her a headache, but while approaching them and trying to speak, she ended up slipping and falling down, hitting her head in the process. This abruptly ended the noise between my parents because we had to quickly rush her to the hospital. While on the road, my parents kept shouting and blaming each other for Claire's accident while I cradled Claire at the back of the car. We almost had an accident because of the constant word battle, and this was when they decided to be quiet till we reached the hospital, to avoid any more mishaps. After waiting for hours at the hospital, the doctor finally came out.
Hello, I have both good news and bad news.
Hit me with it.
Your daughter has survived the procedure. She is safe.
Thank God.
Unfortunately, she might be in a coma for a short while.
The doctor kept quiet, allowing it to sink in for a few minutes before continuing.
The great news is that the baby is totally fine.
He gave a huge smile.
Baby? What baby?
We all chorused.
Oh, you didn't know? Well, congratulations. Claire is 3 months pregnant, so now you're an aunt.
He said, pointing at me.
And you're grandparents. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you guys.
The clueless doctor walked away thinking that he had just broken the best news on the planet, and I stared at his back as he walked away cheerfully, wondering how a grown man and a doctor could be so clueless and stupid. He's probably still a student, I thought. That's why he couldn't read the room. My dad broke down and began crying while my mother simply stared into space. 5 days later, Claire woke up. She was released from the hospital 3 days after that. Nobody told her about the baby until we got home when my dad carefully broke the news to her after dinner. She turned bright blue and immediately threw up on the floor before she began crying and shouting.
This is all your fault, Mom. You're to blame for everything. I hate you. I hate you so much. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
Calm down, Claire. It's okay. We're not angry with you. I'm disappointed, but what has happened and it can't be changed. Now, tell me, who is the father of your child?
She kept crying profusely.
I don't even know, Dad. I've dated so many guys in the past few months because Mom let me, and I don't know which one is the father. This is all Mom's fault. I hate her.
How is this Mom's fault? I asked. You're the one who wanted to hang out with those delinquents.
No, that's not even what I'm talking about. I caught my mom with another man on the first night that I went to a party. That was why she allowed me to stay out late that day. And that was why she kept letting me go out whenever I wanted after that too. She didn't want me to tell you guys that she didn't actually have a new job that required her to work evenings. She just had a new man, and he's the one that has been spending so much money on her.
Dad got furious after hearing this and immediately sent Mom away shortly after divorcing her. As she left that night, she kept on screaming that we'd suffer. We'd be poor and broke, and it'd be impossible for us to survive without her. Seeing that he was the new breadwinner of the family, my dad had to leave his old job for a new one. We helped him with the preparation of his CVs and cover letters, and then even helped him prepare for interviews until he got an executive position. He started taking care of us properly, and life became more tolerable because he loved us equally and unconditionally. There was no unhealthy competition for attention between us anymore. 6 months after Claire's incident, she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, and we all loved him more than life itself. We all lived in harmony for 3 strong years, but the madness in our lives was far from over. One day, my mother came to visit us, and we let her in, even though we didn't really want to. The first person she noticed was Claire's son.
You wicked and ungrateful daughter.
She shouted, referring to Claire.
Huh? Mom, what do you mean? What do you mean, what do I mean? Can't you see the face of your son? It's so obvious what you did. And to think you used to be my favorite. You evil good-for-nothing. Mom, I don't think I quite understand. What are you…
But Mom didn't give her a chance to complete the sentence as she jumped on her and started beating her badly. Luckily, my dad was able to separate them quickly since he was stronger than both of them combined.
What is this madness again?
Your good-for-nothing wayward daughter was dating my ex-boyfriend while I was dating him. Ask her.
The boyfriend you were cheating on me with?
Yes.
My mom said, turning bright red.
Is this true, Claire?
This was when Claire finally realized what Mom had been rambling about.
Oh my God. You've made me realize who my baby's father is. And by the way, I never dated your married boyfriend. Just his son.
He was married?
My dad was even more hurt and disappointed in my mother at this point. Mom calmed down after Claire's explanation. Despite the fact that I warned them not to allow my mother to stay after her first display of constant madness, Claire and my dad still allowed her to stay for a few weeks, saying,
She's still our mother, Clara, and nothing can change that. Let her just stay for some time.
One day during dinner, my mom suddenly broke down and started begging us to take her back. She said her boyfriend refused to leave his wife for her and finally abandoned her after 3 whole years of her life. And since she'd been out of the workforce for more than 3 years, landing a new job was kind of difficult. This made her jobless, homeless, and starving. We actually considered accepting her back into our lives, but when we noticed that I had become her new favorite child and how she kept on making comments about Claire being a disgrace because she got pregnant out of wedlock and as a teenager, we realized that she was still a mad woman that would never change. Despite her pleas, we sent her away and warned her to never visit us again. We lived a better life once she was completely gone from our lives. Claire and I became the best of friends, and we showed Claire's son what true, unconditional love meant. I hope you enjoyed my story. If you did, click the like and subscribe button. It really helps our channel out. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next story we upload. Bye!
Mom, I want more cake.
Sure, honey.
More.
Okay. Here you go, honey.
I want a burger too.
Okay, dear.
Pizza, now.
Yes, honey.
I was a really fat kid, and I had no limits. I sort of looked like Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants, and what made it worse was that was actually my real name. None of this bothered me much when I was little because there's not much peer pressure when you're that young. Of course, I got teased a bit at school, but that didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was that there was cake at home and ice cream. So who cared if Karen Jr. thought I was taking up too much space? But that began to change through middle school. Middle school kids are worse, and I began to feel self-conscious. I started looking at myself in the mirror, and I felt very uncomfortable. Was that really me? I was bigger than a small dinosaur. I became sad and shy, because kids do experience these feelings sometimes, you know? My parents started to get worried about me, so my mom sat me down to have a talk one night.
What's wrong with you, my adorable, cuddly teddy bear darling boy?
I don't want to be cuddly or a bear. I'm a boy. I'm so fat, Mommy. The kids tease me and the girls don't like me.
Girls? Why are you thinking about girls at your age?
I'm 12, Mom. All my friends have crushes now, but none of my crushes will talk to me. It's because I'm fat, isn't it?
No, something is wrong with them.
Something is wrong with me, I whined.
Okay, fine, son. If you're so uncomfortable, we can do something to change that. You're going to have to change your diet, and you'll have to start exercising regularly.
No!
If you want to change, you have to work hard. That's the only way.
She shrugged and left the room. I sat there all alone looking at my belly rolls and feeling like a whale. I decided then and there that this type of life was coming to an end. I had my mom donate all our junk food to the less fortunate. Then we went to the supermarket and bought healthy stuff. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, that sort of stuff. It was really hard to adjust to the change at first because it's hard to happily munch on carrots when you're used to cookies being a food group. My mom bought me some gym equipment too because I was too shy to go to the gym. For months, I ate no junk food and I worked out twice a day. I became a total hottie, but I only realized the huge change at a family Thanksgiving dinner. My aunts and uncles and all their children flew over to spend the evening with us at our house. My grandparents were there too, and every time someone opened the door, their reaction was different.
Is this Patrick's friend? He's so cute.
Oh my gosh, Patrick, what happened to you?
Who are you? And what have you done with my grandson?
At dinner, I was the main topic. Everyone kept telling me how handsome I looked and how proud of me they were. It was one of the best feelings I had ever experienced, but it also made me dependent on constant reassurance from people about how good I looked. So anyway, years passed and it was finally time for high school. I was still gorgeous, by the way, but even more so. I had muscles, a six-pack, the whole shazam. I asked my parents if I could go to a high school outside of our town where less people knew me. I wanted a fresh start, away from anyone who knew what I looked like in the past. They agreed, and before I knew it, I was a high school celebrity. I became a total chick magnet in no time. It wasn't hard to make friends at all. I joined the football team to seem even cooler, and because I was so fit now, I made a really great player. When I played, all the cheerleaders would drool over me, even those who were in relationships. My football friends introduced me to some of the most popular girls at our school. The prettiest one was Jenny, but she already had a boyfriend. Her best friend Sandra seemed like she was really into me though, so we started going out. She was my first girlfriend, and the girl who taught me all about dating. I tried my best to be a good boyfriend. We hung out after school and went to the movies almost every weekend. What I loved most about her was that she was constantly telling me how good I looked. Then, one night while we were strolling home after the movie, she mentioned something which made my heart jump.
Hey, do you know that Jenny broke up with her boyfriend Chad? He was cheating on her. So awful.
What? That's good.
What's good about that?
Oh, nothing. When I got home, I decided to send a message to Jenny right away. I just pretended to be the caring, concerned friend. But what I really wanted was to find out if she'd consider going out with me. What? Don't judge me. She's the one I originally wanted anyway. Would you believe that she agreed to meet me after school the next day, even though she knew I was dating her friend? I suppose that's the advantage of being hot. You can get any girl you want. I told Sandra that I had an upset stomach and I couldn't hang out with her that day because I was going to bed. Then I met Jenny and took her to my favorite restaurant downtown. It was nothing fancy, just burgers and fries. But I regretted eating that later and I worked out for an extra hour. I was totally lost in Jenny's eyes and I couldn't believe how beautiful she was. In no time, she agreed to be my girlfriend. I told her that I broke up with Sandra, but she shouldn't say anything to her because it would hurt her feelings. Sandra didn't suspect a thing. So I had 2 girlfriends, and they were best friends. Then my life took a more complicated turn that summer. My parents had been planning to tour around Europe for a while, and it looked like their plans were finally coming together. On my last day of school, my mom and dad handed me an itinerary with so much excitement in their eyes. You mean we're going to be gone for 2 whole months?
Yes, dear.
Awesome! I said goodbye to Sandra and Jenny the same night. I met Sandra a little earlier, then told her I had to run home to pack. But I really went to meet Jenny after, because I wanted to spend more time with her. Anyway, before I knew it, I was in France. I went to many different tourist attractions with my parents, but after a while I started to feel bored. I mean, if you're a teenager and you're like me, you probably don't enjoy spending every second with your parents. So after we were settled a bit, I started going out by myself. I enjoyed walking around just looking at everything. But one day I got a bit tired, so I decided to stop at a cozy little cafe. I ordered a cup of coffee and a cool-looking pastry, and as I was looking around for a seat, I saw the most beautiful girl I had ever seen in my life. I decided to take a chance and ask her if I could sit with her. Hey, is this seat taken?
No.
Oh, you speak English. That's great.
Yes, I do.
She had a cute little accent which I couldn't get over. She told me her name was Celine and that she lived nearby. I asked her if she'd go out with me on a date the next day, and she agreed. She planned the date because it was her country. We went to a cute little garden, then I had a romantic little lunch. I enjoyed every moment, and I even kissed her goodbye when it was time for me to go back to my hotel. The next day, we went to the Louvre because she decided that I absolutely had to see it. While we were looking at some interesting art pieces, I held her hand and asked her if she'd be my girlfriend. She agreed, and we kissed again. What? I was in the city of love, so do you really think that Sandra and Jenny were on my mind? The next day she was busy, and I decided to go back to the Louvre by myself because there was something I wanted to check out. I was so caught up with Celine the day before that I felt like I missed something. What? I'm a jerk, but yeah, I do like art. Anyway, while I was staring into space, I felt a light tap on my shoulder. I turned around and my jaw dropped. If I thought Jenny and Celine were beautiful, this girl was on a whole other level. Hi, I trembled.
You've been staring at this for a long time? What are you thinking?
I looked into her eyes and I was so mesmerized that I couldn't speak.
Come with me. I'll take you to another museum. It's even cooler than this one.
I decided that she was too pretty to be a serial killer, so I followed her. She told me her name was Chloe and that she was from the south of France, but her parents sent her to a boarding school in England so she could learn English. She was on vacation for the summer just like me. I took her back to the hotel and introduced her to my parents. Then we all went for a fancy dinner together. I had so much fun with her that we exchanged numbers, and by the end of the week, yep, you guessed it, she was my girlfriend too. So now I had 4 girlfriends. I said goodbye to Celine and Chloe the night before my parents and I left for Spain. At different times, of course. They both cried and I thought it was so cute. Anyway, in Spain, we stayed at my parents' friend's house near the sea, and they had a really hot daughter named Gabriella. To cut a long story short, she eventually became my girlfriend too. I just loved that thrill I got every time a new girl desired me. So the same thing happened in Portugal. Her name was Laura. And Germany. Her name was Mila. So I was up to 7 now. When I got back home, I sort of felt relieved. I didn't even tell Sandra and Jenny I was back. I just switched off my phone for 2 days so I could get a break. But when I turned it back on, it was time for business. I decided to meet Jenny first because I missed her the most. I told Sandra I was recovering from food poisoning caused by awful German sausages and went to Jenny's house. But when Jenny opened the door, my jaw dropped. Standing next to her was a girl who was 10 times prettier than she was.
This is my cousin, Carlene.
Hi, Carlene. I'm Patrick.
Patrick? Like the starfish? What a funny name.
I was in love. Later that night, I got a message from her saying that she got my number from Jenny's phone. She asked me if I'd meet her for lunch the next day, and I agreed. We met at a food court in the mall, and we had the most adorable conversation ever. Then I saw her wave to someone nearby.
Hey, my friend Desiree is coming to join us for a while. You don't mind, do you?
No. But when Desiree sat next to me, my eyes nearly fell out of my head. She was gorgeous, and I seriously couldn't concentrate because I was sitting with 2 beautiful women, and I was just confused. It seemed like Desiree was really into me too, and when Carlene got up to go to the bathroom, she asked me for my number. I texted them both every night for a while, and I'd meet them sometimes for romantic strolls wherever. Eventually, they both became my girlfriends, so yep, we were up to 9. I guess I became too confident because I became less careful when I snuck around. It was also hard to talk to all 9 of my girlfriends consistently. One night, while Desiree was sitting in my living room with a huge bowl of popcorn, and we were just about to make out, the doorbell rang. I opened it, and there was my German girlfriend. She jumped into my arms and started kissing me. Then Desiree came over and dumped the entire bowl of popcorn on her head. At that moment, Jenny and Carlene came over, and when they realized what was going on, they all started fighting with each other. I managed to separate the fight and get them to stop, but they were so upset with me that they all left and started posting horrible things about me on social media. Now, all my other girlfriends knew that I had been cheating on them, and people started making all kinds of funny memes about me. It was awful. The next day, I woke up with a headache and looked outside of my bedroom window. It seemed like a new family was moving in next door. I went downstairs to ask them if they needed help, and then I saw her, holding a box with a twinkle in her eyes.
Hi, my name's Annie.
My heart melted, and very soon, I had my 10th girlfriend.